Yep, she can get decent value. She doesn't have her self-heal anymore that she used to get from her creep, which is one of the reasons that she might not be as popular these days. But we will see. We're loading in to Brax's holdout. Let's see on the bans. Last time we did see a task ban.
Yep.
This map, Wave Clear, is the name of the game.
And interestingly enough, something that's very popular in Korea or the Western scenes, Oriel plus Gul'dan is something we have never seen in China before. We saw a lot of Oriel being picked, especially if you pair another support with her. But the ideal dream combo of Gul'dan Oriel is something we rarely get to see, because Gul'dan in general doesn't seem to be prioritized in China at all, and is the Lunara instead, who was considered to be the inferior hero when it comes to dealing damage over time, is prioritized instead, and to great extent to really, really good results so far.
Yeah, can I say how weird it is that in terms of lore, the Gul'dan Ariel combo, Gul'dan the Destroyer of Hope, and Ariel the Angel, the Archangel of Hope, it is a very weird combination. For now, though, we have Tastar already banned, Zarya being hovered, both shielders, very high priority in all regions. So we're seeing Zarya banned out.
Especially after seeing how much work Zarya put in last game, single-handedly crushing down foes left and right, dropping those deadly explosion zones as well, making it so hard for enemies to get, for allies to get killed. Even with a counter in the name of Varian, they couldn't handle her, so they better get rid of it. And if there's something you can't handle, you ban it. So SoA definitely playing this one very, very nicely.
Yeah, SoA. SoA have looked so good. Like we said, they've improved
so good.
every game so far.
This was their best game by far.
Yeah, so in theory, this should be their best game by far again. If the format is to continue, and I hope it does, that'd be great to see. Morales, first pick. And this is definitely a China thing. Morales' first pick is only a China thing.
You know what? At some point, I would love to see an interview in Chinese where they ask them the exact same question. Why do you think Morales is so good, especially on Brax's Hoa? Did he even first pick her over a Mouth, over Lucio?
Yeah.
I would love to see that at some point and hear it firsthand.
Sonya, Karazim, Diablo style. Bring out the Nephilim straight away. But yeah, there was a great post on Reddit which was describe your favorite hero and make them sound OP. And I chose Morales, and it's surprisingly very easy. And it's like, okay, you get to solo heal, but it's the most solo heal in the game, and all it costs is mana. And you can get infinite mana by taking a level 1 and a 16 talent. You can also not only heal them, but you can reduce the damage they take. You get CC, you get Ice Block, you get movement speed, you get everything, and you get Cleanse and Mule. And it was so fun. It was a great post.
Now, you mentioned something very important and interesting as well. Talk us through that infinite mana combo at level 1 and 16.
Just quickly, apparently I've been corrected. Korea and NA also first pick Morales. So my mistake. Thank you for the correction, Vin Thors. The first pick, the Morales infinite mana combo. If you take the shield sequence, the feedback loop, basically means that when you cast your safeguard on someone, you get 45 mana back out of the 60 that it costs. If you take the shield sequencer at level 16, you get a second free safeguard. But the talent that restores the mana is still applied.
Right.
So you're able to send it back. You're able to reverse it back in. So you gain 90 mana after spending 60. So overall, you come out of a net 30 mana every time you cast Safeguard, and you reduce the damage taken by 2 heroes.
There we go. Now, another thing to highlight, when you mention Morales in other regions, she normally doesn't perform too well. I mean, we all remember Kenma going for it every now and then, not to the greatest results from Team Naventic. But in China, Morales, that's the big difference. In China, Morales gets those good results in as well. It's one thing to pick her and prioritize her sometimes, but it's another story, another thing to actually make her work as well. I think that's where China really sets itself apart from other regions. Now, the Sonya, we talked about her. She is one of the most dominant solo laners in the game right now. There's very few heroes, I should say, that can really best her. At some point, I want to see a Rexar, though, because I think he's truly one of the few ones who can out-sustain her if the main Rexar body doesn't get hit, and Misha absorbs all the damage. And that can also hold the beacon for long enough, while Sonya just doesn't really seem to be able to catch up.
Yeah, unless you are Wubby or Artanis, then laning against Rexar isn't a huge problem for you. But as we saw yesterday, so ban for CE here. Range damage dealers could be good, but they don't currently have a damage dealer either. But Sylvanas can drop a very large amount of damage output if she's played very well and has some really solid micro. Instead, they're going to ban out a tank. They already have ETC for themselves. That's a bit more solid, I would say.
And that's exactly the kind of style CE is trying to go for here. They're trying to form this unbeatable 4-man lane, with Morales providing one of the strongest single target supports in the game, provided or reinforced by a Sylvanas, who is then going to slowly but surely whittle down the enemy structures. Now, everything they still need is a strong solo laner, which is going to be very interesting because, as we mentioned, Sonya is just really, really good at that. Now, on the flip side, SoA, they need to put something against that Sylvanas, and oftentimes we saw hard engagers like an Illidan doing very, very well against that pokey playstyle Sylvanas has to offer, because once you hard engage on her, she's going to be able to, or she's going to be forced to retreat, abandoning her pushing and building disabling. So, Illidan, though, might be a little bit risky with the Sonya already in play, but they might as well go super aggressive now with the Greymane being banned out.
Yeah, potentially. You described Sylvanas very well. She's a win harder hero.
Yeah.
But if you're on the back foot, she can become a bit of a liability. The lack of just really good team fight damage output can be very difficult to deal with. We see Falstad and Johanna coming in here, so now we have a good global to roam up to the top lane and assist Sonya.
Yep.
If they want to try and take the beacon up there, if they're already losing it. And that makes it a bit more difficult to pick someone like Rexar, because yeah, you're going to win that, but eventually the second Falstad comes out, you're
in trouble.
So now you want someone who can win in a 1 versus 1 without having to rely on just leaving the bear on the beacon.
Someone like Dehaka, potentially. I think Dehaka is also a relatively safe hero to have in a solo lane, especially considering potential Falstad ganks, because Dehaka can have that superior self-sustain. He has the burrow as well to dodge a hammering, for example. So it wouldn't surprise me to see everyone's favorite Zerg, male Zerg, I should probably say, to come out here.
I would quite like, and this may be me going out on a whim here, Alarak.
Okay.
It is going to be Thrall. Thrall was the other one I was going to say, but I'll explain my logic behind Alarak first, and then that will expand over the Thrall. Basically, against Sonya, if you're going to have the trouble of Falstad being able to gank, then you want to be able to sustain the lane and attempt to poke down Sonya. Dehaka can do that, but he will get spun on, whereas Alarak, and via extension Thrall in this case, do have ranged poke, which also gives them sustain. So they're able to sustain a little bit and play safe the second they lose sight of Falstad. Yeah, they'll lose the beacon, but so will Rexar or Dehaka or anyone like that the second someone roams up. With Alarak, you would have had the silence as well, which is one of the few bits of CC that Sonya's Wrath the Berserker does not affect, but Thrall works very effectively as well, and probably gives a bit more of a safer wave clear.
Now, this time, we've had this Sonya versus Thrall set up already in the past, and it didn't go so well for the Thrall, but mainly because I think he went for the wrong build. I really want to see a more solo lane focused, brawl-focused build from Thrall, focusing on block potentially to... Hey! There she is!
It's coming! Someone pointed out, Rag would have also been very good for the top lane. Would have also been good. It would have been a little bit harder to get the sustain, but then again, Sonya would have pushed up the lane with Whirlwind, so you would have still got that. So, I don't hate that. That would have been good too, but they are choosing Thrall this time, which does give them a lot more of single target follow-up, whereas Rag, you really do have to land that Sulfuras to get the value.
Okay, so here's the thing, Thatcher. Sonya is not going to go for that 4-man lane. She is not really good at that. She is way better in the solo lane. So I think we're going to see that Zagara reinforcing the 4-man lane, and that is so smart, because her Banelings deal such a tremendous amount of damage to minions that she's going to be able to easily outpush the Sylvanas, or at least keep up with it. So I don't think CE is going to be able to just waltz and stomp over the bottom lane like they normally would have been able to. The Zagara is so smart. She provides such good wave clear. outstanding single target damage. You drop the Hunter kill on the Sylvanas, and immediately she's going to be forced to get back and to safety. So this is such a cool disengaging pick in the bottom lane specifically.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool to see. So, do you think it is going to be Nidus or the?
I think it all depends on how well the game goes. If the game goes extremely well for SoA, I think we could see a Nidus to just basically drive CE more and more desperate. I think if the game is going even, or if it's not going so well, we're going to see a Maw for that playmaking capabilities that you really need to catch up.
Alright, well, we will have to see as the wasp that has entered my room gets ever closer to my head. We are loading into map number 1 of this best of 5
Don't
series.
swallow it during
Sorry,
a team fight, Tetcher.
Sorry.
That would be the worst.
Map number 2 of this best of 5 series. SoA, they're looking to finally put one on the board.
They're looking to put one in on the board, and as we all pray for Tetra's survival, we're going to introduce Team SoA in the blue: Karazim, Falstad, Johanna, Sonya, and last but not least, Zagara. I'm really excited to see her.
As am I. Whereas on the right-hand side, currently 1-0 up in this series, it is CE, where we have Morales, ETC, Sylvanas, Thrall, and Valor. Morales is in fact starting it off with that feedback loop, getting that mana in straight away.
Exactly what Tetra touched upon earlier during the draft. You want to go for that mana region with Morales. Now they're sending 5 people into that top lane. Will Sylvanas, of course, they have this tremendous early scouting and pushing potential here against enemy towers. Really, really well played here, but Thrall immediately going down to the bottom lane. Look at that! Johanna in the solo lane? What is going on here, Tetra?
It is Johanna versus Thrall. Johanna does have blinds to deal with Thrall and a huge amount of sustain. Now Falstad's coming down. Are they going to do a 3-2? Potentially. They kind of need Johanna up there to clear the minions, so I think this is just a slow rotation here. But they're going to attempt to make a gank out of it. There's the stun onto Paradise. Paradise with a great route will get him out of danger there. And it is... No, is Johanna going to rotate up? She's grabbing the globe first, at least.
Yeah, so a very unorthodox way to deal with this, and I'm not sure if you want to have a 3+2 spread against a Sylvanas, because already the first tower is falling in the top lane and the second one getting damaged heavily. What do they try to accomplish with this? I think this is the wrong approach. Zagara is strong. I mean, Zagara is good at dealing with those minions, sure, but when you have Morales at that, I don't think her damage is going to be enough to really threaten that Sylvanas. And already you can see CE skyrocketing ahead in terms of global XP. This is a very weird scenario where you put Sonya, one of the strongest solo laners, in a 3-man lane, and you put Johanna, Falstad, who don't really have a lot of kill potential, against Thrall. This is really weird.
This is very weird indeed. Some of the talents, by the way, we can talk about. Mercenary Queen.
Yep.
Coming in for Sylvanas, which is basically her version of Merc Lord, only it's a level 1, which is quite nice. We also have the Banelings coming in for the Zagara here. We see a very aggressive move by Uncle G there, flying in from behind, going to try and take down Sylvanas, but with Karazim already dead, he doesn't really have any kind of support. He's still going to go very aggressively onto Valor, but Valor turns it round. If Johanna wanted to go in, she could maybe try and get the kill, but instead, 2 kills going over to CE. Bot lane completely abandoned. That is a lot of XP lost.
That is a lot of XP lost indeed. Look at how far CE is getting themselves ahead here. Johanna now the only survivor left in that top lane, and during all of that, Paradise has been standing like a rock in this bottom lane, not falling, not giving in, only now falling back a little bit under the pressure of Sonya, who's finally in the bottom lane where she belongs, in my opinion. And we did see Thrall go for block, by the way, which is a very nice way to keep himself safe and sound in the earlier stages of the game against those strong auto attacks from someone like Falstad, who went for Season Marksman, or Sonya, who's also hitting pretty hard.
Yeah, whereas Valor, despite being against 2 blocks, Reinforce and Block, on Johanna and Sonya respectively, has gone for an auto attack build to begin with.
Auto attack build is something we're not used to seeing on this map in particular, because keep in mind that the W build, the multi-shot build, provides you with so much additional damage against minion waves and Zergs and such, but it really seems like Zuyu just wants to have this additional damage onto heroes when they're defending their forts, and so far I can't really fault him for taking it, because they're snowballing like crazy after dominating this top lane early on.
Yeah, it's working very well for them. We do see a slight counter push by Sonya and Karazim trying to get some value. Yeah, Thrall's a great solo laner, but he's not able to deal with that very well. He's just poking down from range. But he's bought time. His team is on the way, but it's only ETC. They're just looking for the beacon trade right now. But with more members coming in, they're going to be able to barely save that fort with way under a quarter health. But they're going to look to try and grab at that beacon again. But they still need to protect top because Falstad are going to be sneaky. But he's going to be contested by the Sylvanas here. And the Thrall, out of nowhere, surprise, doing a huge amount of damage to Uncle G.
Yeah, very nicely done. Now we see the mercenary camp helping Thrall to hold his own in the top lane a little bit more. He's still probably not going to be able to recapture the top beacon. The Zergwave has been pushed to 64 already. And keep in mind that if they manage to get to 100% CE, that is, they're going to have a Zergwave in the top lane, which has been decimated previously already. So there's not going to be any more towers, no fort really left to stand between the Zergs and the keep. So they're going to have some straight up keep pressure with this first wave if they end up getting it. But SoA is doing a lot better now. They're getting some towers in top lane themselves. They have the Bruiser camp pushing alongside with it. So maybe if they get those towers, they can catch up and secure level 7 for themselves.
And this is fascinating by SoA. We have the serrated spines coming in for Zagara. Basically, this is great because now SoA are just attempting to delay as long as possible, assuming that they don't all explode here in the next couple seconds, which is likely.
Goodness.
Goodbye. Sonya will escape because she's Sonya, but they already have control of bot, so they're able to trade that quite nicely. But they're trying to delay this. Oh, by Falstad. CE just grabbing kills everywhere right now. Valor chasing in aggressively too. And
did you see that beautiful knockback by ETC, by the way? Getting for the additional range, I believe, and then knocking Karazim far enough so that the fort would actually send that one shot, slowing Karazim and preventing him from running away in the nick of time. So that was so well executed by Wind on the ETC and the remainders of CE. So well played.
Yeah, they're playing so beautifully right now in a great position. What I was saying about Zagara is basically what SoA are going to attempt to do here is delay and let Zagara stack as much as possible and then try and get the game to late game so Zagara will just be a auto-attacking beast. Unfortunately, it doesn't work if your team dies, which is exactly what ended up happening there.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, see, they have the Zerg. It is very high percentage in their favor. A little bit was taken by SoA. Going to push the bot lane, and Sonya's going to stay down there to guarantee them that fort and give them that little boost in XP so that they can get 10 soon. They're not going to have it in time for the defense, but they will have it soon afterwards so they can attempt to at least get some counter aggression and to get themselves back on the map after this is done.
Now we see a Kanjian on that Sylvanas proving to be the MVP for this ongoing push. Sonya does not care. She wanted that bottom fort, but at what cost, Tetra? At what cost? She is way too late to the party. Doesn't even teleport back. Why is she running around in the middle of the map? What is she doing?
Now she's microing back and forth. Now she's coming again. She's on the way, but the keep is down. That was going to die no matter what. That it is an expendable resource, but Sonya could have been back a little bit earlier. Stun onto Johanna right now. Iron Skin is drop, keeping her alive. Big damage onto Falstad. He's able to micro away, but Thrall dropping low. The mosh pit does not really catch anyone. Only caught Karazim. He's already taken that. Strafe kills off Johanna as well. And there goes Falstad. CE crushing through this, able to take game at number 2.
This was just absolute dominance from CE. It looked like SoA was not really aware how to play against that Sylvanas comp. I know that Sylvanas is not a common sight in China, but still, people, especially pro gamers, on such a high competitive level should know how to lane against it, and I have to criticize them once again for not sending Sonya solo and not even trying to defend with 4 against a Sylvanas. Despite having Zagara, it was not enough to really keep them in check, and this basically crushed and destroyed their early game. And CE, they were like, thank you, we're just going to capitalize on this and we're going to play the easiest early game of our lives with Sylvanas being uncontested. Just well played by CE, but also SoA just didn't look good, and they don't continue the trend of looking stronger with each game. They looked weaker than they ever did in this one.